I want to bring on the founder and CEO of Next Level Pizza, Fabio Matticoli. Fabio, thanks for being with me. You are seeing more and more vegan options come up. Like I even think Domino's, which is what you are intending to replace, the vegan Domino's, the accidentally vegan Domino's, if you will, of 2022 and beyond. But places like Domino's are starting to have their own vegan pizza options. What's the competition like there?
I think that's great, and I hope they will do much more of that, and they are doing it also. I mean, also Papa John's and Domino's, they actually have a kind of a plant-based war going on in the UK. So that's great. But as you said, these are options, and options, you have it in the word, they don't want their core customers to eat that. I mean, for several reasons, and maybe I'm also guessing now a little bit, so maybe not all of that is true. But I would say they make more money if they sell a conventional meat pizza at the moment. So that's could be one reason why they don't want their core customer to eat a plant-based meat pizza. And then there's just no point for them. I mean, they have their core customers and they scale with them. They do the options to bring in new customers. So basically what they're doing is they're maybe replacing, let's say a flexitarian who has eaten salad is now eating Domino's pizza, maybe. So it's not really making a big difference. It's more like shifting around foods, but they want to target flexitarians and vegans. And what they don't want is, like, if there is a group order of 10 people and there's one vegan, they don't want that one vegan to screw up the whole order, and it's now becoming more like 2-3 vegans and maybe 2-3 flexitarians. So that's why they are doubling down on that. But they don't have real intention to replace their core items for their core customers with plant-based solutions. Unfortunately, they don't. They also don't have the brand for that. They don't have the supply chains for that. I think eventually they will have to, but that's a few years down the road.
What are some of the things you wish you knew then when you started that you know now? And any tips for people on raising money and finding the right strategic investors?
Yes, I mean, what I knew then, I would say 9 months ago, I was already 35 years old and quite experienced. I still learned a lot. I'm not saying, but I think more interesting is what I didn't know like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so I'd like to, I could tell you 1,000 things that I learned in the last 9 months, but I think it's less interesting. It's more also kind of technical stuff about this industry and how you build that kind of concept. But like 10 years ago, what I really didn't know is that scale can also be dangerous, and it's not all about scaling in the beginning. So you have to go deep and slow until you have something that really makes sense. Build something that a few people love instead of something that like maybe hundreds of thousands kind of like. I think that I didn't really know that, so I was all about, okay, I have something, let's scale it, let's delegate, let's bring in 1,000 people and make that the next big thing. I didn't really get the sequencing right of that. I should have gone much slower in the beginning of my startup career. I think to put it very simple in not very nice language is if you scale, it becomes more. So you
noted.
You have to create something that really is worth scaling, and usually you see it if you have a few extremely fanatic customers who really are in love with your products. It don't have to be 10,000, right? Maybe just a few hundreds. But they really, I mean, they are your ambassadors, and they help you to grow the business. So in a way, it makes it easier to scale, obviously, but also it says that you have created something that is worth to scale. And then obviously you have to scale, and scaling is great. And I mean, I'm here talking about building a next Domino, so. Let's be honest. I'm still very much about scaling, but I think it's the right time. It's about the right timing. Yeah, there's a time and place for everything, and if you don't really have product market fit, as tech people like to say, it's just not right to scale. Which would mean in our case, it's not right to build 100 ghost kitchens if we don't really have the revenue and the repeat purchase per ghost kitchen. Just a small example.
Yeah. So honing in on really getting that product right. It's a concern I have, actually, quite frankly, for a lot of plant-based brands that are coming out with, the burger, the sausage, the cheese, the roast, turkey roast, the crumbles, the taco filling. I mean, it's yes, they're all plant-based meats, and now even some moving into plant-based cheeses, but I think it's hard to be great at so many products, and you risk losing people.